Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone's doing fantastic. Yes, I'm back with another one. And this one's going to be a bit controversial because obviously everyone has their favorites and everyone thinks that their favorites is the best and blah, blah, blah. And anyway, as the video title says, who should go and who should stay? I'm not going to talk about who should stay. I think that if I tell you about who I think should go, that should be enough for you to understand where I'm at and who I think, deserves a place in this Chelsea football squad. So I'm going to be looking down at my laptop a lot. So for those who are like, can you look at the camera more? Because we want to get, okay, no one's ever said that. But when you're learning about YouTube and how to YouTube, they're always like, look straight into the camera, or else people lose interest or something like that. Anyway, to the 5 people watching, I apologize for looking down, but let's get right into it. So, looking at our goalkeepers, we have 3 goalkeepers right now: Edouard Mendy, Kepa Arrizabalaga, and Marcus Belletti. Maybe by the time I put out this video, because I saw that we recently bid for this American goalkeeper. I think Real Madrid were in for him too. I forget his name, but yeah, hopefully, Anyway, I think Edouard Mendy second season wasn't as great as his first one. Obviously, I think that has to do with a lot of changes in defense and, up and downs that we've had this season. So I still feel like he is okay to be number 1. The person I want to go out is Kepa. I think Kepa has been the servant that he needed to be. I think that after his really bad spell, and I think also with Edouard Mendy coming in, it's actually helped him build his confidence again. So I do feel like Kepa, it's time for him to, spread his wings and go off to the next club. Obviously, Chelsea don't want to lose money on, they paid, 70 million for him. Nobody's going to pay us for that. So I think we should cut our losses and just admit that it didn't work out with Kepa and we should move on. So I do strongly believe that it's time for Kepa to move on. I think Bettinelli's okay. He's all right. But anyway, moving on to our defense, I think there's a lot that needs to be changed in our defense. And I see a few good names that we're looking into the market for, the Kipembes, the Kundes, and so on and so forth. Again, maybe by the time this video comes out, we would have signed someone. Chelsea, do something. You know that meme where it's like, can you do something, make a move? We're still waiting for Chelsea to do that. But Marcos Alonso, I think it's time for Marcos Alonso to go. The reality is, if as Chelsea fans we're honest, yes, Marcos Alonso hasn't been great defensively a lot of the times, but going forward, Marcos Alonso has saved us in very important games. He has scored very important goals for Chelsea Football Club. So it's not with a bad heart or anger that I'm saying that Marcos Alonso should go, but I just think for the future of Chelsea Football Club to be so dependent on a left wing back who gives in great offense but doesn't do well in defense is important for us to look at, because if we want to concede less goals and we want to match the likes of Liverpool and Man City, we need to do better. Tottenham, obviously, with Kante in there and them giving him more money to work with, that's going to be an issue. The rebuild at Man United is happening. Arsenal are hot and cold. You never know what they're going to give you in the season. So it's important, and you're looking at the Aston Villas and you're looking at Newcastle obviously coming up. It's important for us to have players, to have a team of players that if, our left back is out and a new left back comes in, that he does what needs to be done. He puts in the effort that needs to be put in both offensive and defensively. So I think it's time for Marcos Alonso to bid us a farewell. Obviously, Christensen has left by now, which is a good thing. I think Christensen was becoming a bit of a nuisance to the Chelsea Football Club, to the squad itself. I think that, with his pulling out of the FA Cup final in the last minute, I think it would take something really serious for you to pull out of a cup final. But then he played, or I think he was on the bench in the next match, which is like what stomach bug apparently. But I just think it's good riddance. I think Barcelona are not going to enjoy him over there, and it should be interesting to see the rest of how it goes. And I hope his dad is finally happy that his son can get playing time. But moving on to the midfield, just quickly, Malanga Sarr. I think maybe Malanga Sarr needs another loan out. I think there's still some things that he needs to work on. There's still some things that he needs to think about defensively, that he needs to work on his decision making. I don't know if that's because he's young, but I think a loan would do him wonders. So let's move on to our midfield. Jorginho. I think it's time for Jorginho to go. Again, it's for me, it's the hot and cold. It's the one day I'm fantastic, the next day I'm totally horrible, or I'm giving away goals, or I just think that Jorginho has kind of run his course. Yes, I do know Jorginho's importance in the Chelsea Football Club. Obviously, when he's not there, we miss him tremendously because he controls the game well. He's able to direct our flow and our movement of how we go forward. I think again he's lacking defensively, and that's important because when we lose the ball in the position where Jorginho plays, it's very dangerous because usually by that time we have our wing backs in the opposition's half. We're left with maybe three. Our three center backs, which, yes, I mean, we have Koundé's coming in and people that are a bit quicker. But if we look at ball loss in that position, and if we have an attack against the likes of Liverpool who get forward so quickly, Man City who get forward so quickly, we are in trouble most of the time. And it's important for us to have someone who is able to, at the same time, control the game, but also be good defensively. And I think that's where Jorginho is lacking. Maybe his expertise would be better used in Italy, where I think Italy's a less more competitive league. So he can make those mistakes and get away with it. But I think 8 times out of 10, you do that in the Premier League and you get punished. And we've seen that happen. So I think maybe it's time for Jorginho to find a new club. Now, again, I forgot to preface this at the beginning. I'm not like 100% like, oh, these players are going. Obviously, I don't know what's going on, but I think this is just my opinion on who I think needs to, he needs to move out and how we need to replace them. And, I might maybe look at, who are the replacements in the next video. But just now, looking at this current Chelsea team, I think Jorginho in our midfield is someone that may need to go. Angola Kante, I've actually made videos about me thinking that we should sell Angola Kante, that Angola Kante is past his prime, but I don't know. I think we can still get, a few good moments out of Angola, so I'm definitely for him staying. Now, Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I think Ruben Loftus-Cheek needs to go. It's again one of those things where I know, like, Chelsea fans, we live on that nostalgia that, like, oh, Ruben, he's this, but like he's almost 26 now. He should be at a level where we look at Ruben and we think, oh my God, like, this is the player that we all know, that that can, all the potential that we knew that he had, like, finally we're seeing it, and we're just not. I think, yes, there's some matches. If we look at the matches where he's played well, it's against maybe lower league sides or teams where he got, he was allowed to run with the ball and have more space. But yes, and I think it was against when he came on against Crystal Palace, for example, where he was magnificent. But if you look at, top teams, and when we need him to come in because Kovacic is injured, Jorginho is injured, Angola Kante is injured, we do not have that reassurance that Ruben can do the job. And I just think that, yes, I think, his chances have been up and down, but I feel like when he's been given the chances, he hasn't excelled. And I think Thomas Tuchel is starting to see that. And every time Thomas Tuchel talks about him, it's always, he needs to do more. He needs to, it's like that teacher when we were all the naughty children when we were kids, like, Lionel just, he needs to apply himself more, is the word they used to use. He needs to apply himself, which means like, this kid is a show and he needs to do better or he needs to go. And so that's how I feel about RCL right now. Ross Barkley, I think he's a good squad rotation player, and I think that he needs more playing time. I think there's matches this season that Thomas Tuchel could have played him and just refused to play him. I think there were games where, there was changes that he didn't need to make and just maybe drop Ross Barkley. And I think that Ross Barkley can give a bit more. I think the appearances that he has made, he has looked sharp, he has looked good, and yeah, I think there's something to that. I think it's important for us to look at that and and maybe give him more of a chance. So I'm still on the fence about Ross Barkley. You let me know in the comments what you guys think about Ross Barkley and anyone else on this list that I'm mentioning. Moving on to the forwards. Oh my goodness, what have I written here? Okay. I'll start off with, I think one that we maybe all agree on is Kennedy, because technically he's a forward. I don't know why Thomas Tuchel brought him back. I have no idea why. I think, the reports that, the other team didn't want him anymore because he was just bloody useless. I think that might be accurate because I don't see what it is. So I think it's time for Kennedy to go. Moving on to three players that might divide the fan base. I'm going to start off with Timo Verna. What is there to say about Timo Verna that hasn't been said already? Timo Verna, he just hasn't cut it. Like, yes, he gives us more. I mean, if we look at like a Joe Linton at Newcastle, who has made that transition from like goal scoring machine to like playmaker and person who comes from deep and helps the team to modify their attack. Timo Verna, yes, his speed is important, but at the end of the day, that's all he gives us is that extra bit of speed. His touch is off. His mentality is off. You can tell that this is a player that has been, Chelsea fans have tried their best to back him and support him, but it just hasn't worked. And he just looks like a player who doesn't have it in him to carry on playing for this team. And maybe, going back to Germany might help him. Maybe, a stint in a new league like Italy, for example, might give him that, that freedom where he can run at defenders. There's more space for him to run because in the Premier League, there just isn't. If you're not, you can be fast, but you have to be technical as well. You have to be able to bring the ball down at one touch and push it forward. And Timo Werner just can't do that. And unfortunately, we have backed him, but nothing has changed. Nothing is new. And I think, again, that's another player that Thomas Tuchel is starting to be like, okay, you know what? I don't know what else I can do. And that's why Chelsea are open to listening to bids for the likes of Timo Verna. Moving on, Lukaku, obviously, I think for obvious reasons, I think that we would be better off if Lukaku left. I've always been, when he was signed, I knew that he was not the right fit. And at that time, I think the reason why I said he wasn't the right fit is because I didn't think that he fit the system of Chelsea Football Club that we were playing at the time, the Thomas Tuchel Chelsea. I didn't think that he fit that system because of his style of play and what he needs in order to be the prolific goal scorer that he was in Italy. And he wasn't going to get that at Chelsea. I'm shocked as to how people didn't see that this was an actual thing that was going to happen. But here we are, a season later, and he wants to go back to Inter, and there's all these things coming out. Okay. Whether you love Lukaku, whether you think he's a great player, or whatever the case is, he just hasn't cut it at Chelsea. If we saw something in Lukaku, I think Chelsea fans are very supportive of players. I think you look at how supportive we were of Fernando Torres, how supportive we were of Diego Costa, how supportive we were of Timo Verna, and how supportive we've been. Why isn't there the same support for Lukaku? It's because of the antics. It's because of everything that he's done around this football club. And it just doesn't sit well with the Chelsea fans. And I think once you lose the Chelsea fans, it's very hard to come back from that, Yes, we appreciate Alonso, but we understand what rift Alonso has created while he's been at Chelsea, and that's why he's divided the fan base to the way he has. And Lukaku has now done the same thing. And I personally, for me, there's no way back. Already, I was a no-go on Lukaku. I thought that he would not fit our system, and it's true, he hasn't fit the system, and he hasn't fit the style of play that we have. But at the same time, I think the antics around it, and I have a good friend of mine who posted on Twitter. I'm trying to remember exactly what he said, but it was along the lines of that. Thomas Tuchel is a bad coach. I will put it up on the screen. That he what kind of coach cannot fit a prolific striker like Lukaku into this team? I don't think Lukaku fits into any team, in the Premier League. I don't think Lukaku can excel in any team in the Premier League right now, just because of his style of play and what he needs. He needs more time on the ball. He needs to play the way he wants to play, whether it's back to the goal or facing the goal. I even forget what he needs at this point, because there's so much. Lukaku needs this, he needs that, in order for him to be at his best, he needs this and that, and he needs massages on a Wednesday, and he needs cupcakes delivered to his. It's like there's so many things that he needs. Okay, Chelsea Football Club needs something too. We need a goal scorer, and you're not scoring goals. Yes, you finished top of top scorer at the club, but that's not a hard thing to do. Why are people acting like that? Oh my God, he finished top scorer. Like, he finished top scorer with what, 15 goals or something like that? I would need to fact check that, but that's in all competitions. We're talking about Son and Mo Salah, who are finishing 20, 22 goals or something in just the Premier League. In the league, I'm sorry, but it's not good enough. And we've seen the matches where he's come on and he's done absolutely nothing for a whole 90 minutes, where he's had 2 touches of the ball the whole time. I'm sorry, but that shows that there's a lack of confidence in him from his teammates. It shows a lack of confidence in him from his coach. And it shows a lack of confidence in himself to be that player that he was boasting that he was going to be coming back to Chelsea Football Club. And he just hasn't done that. And that's just my opinion on that. Again, let me know what you guys think in the comments. But moving on to Christian Pulisic. I think Pulisic needs to go. I'm going to be blunt about Pulisic. I think Pulisic is a mid-table player. He's not the replacement for Eden Hazard that we thought he was going to be. I mean, I watched the video that Chelsea Football Club posted of Eden Hazard's goals at Chelsea, and I cannot believe that we actually compared, like we even tried to say, you know what, this kid can be an Eden Hazard. I cannot believe it. Christian Pulisic is not good enough for Chelsea Football Club. I'm so sorry to say it. I think for what we are achieving, what we want to chase, season in and season out, Christian Pulisic isn't it. I think it was fake news that Liverpool wanted Christian Pulisic because Christian Pulisic does not fit. Like, he might be a Minamino, whatever his name is, and just warm the bench in case they need someone because people are injured. But he's just not that prolific. He's supposed to be the one running at defenders and beating defenders. He's not doing that. Hudson-Odoi does it more than him, and Cho hasn't played in so long. So I don't know what else there is to say about Christian, to be honest. There's really not. Just look at how he plays the game, how he fits in the system, what he brings to the team. He's just not good enough. He excels against Honduras and I don't know what other, Mexico and things like that, because that's what those teams are. Like, those teams are mid-level. Those are like the Aston Villas of international football. They're the Crystal Palaces of international football. That's obviously why he excels. That's obviously why he excels, because of the level at which they are. I'm really interested to see what the US does in the World Cup. I think they have some good youngsters coming up, but I'm super interested to see what Christian Pulisic does in the World Cup. But I hope that by that time he would have found a new club, and that's just how I feel on that. Anyway, you guys let me know what you think in the comments. Who you think should, if there's a player that I missed out on, if there's players that you think should go. You let me know. Maybe Azpilicueta is someone that you feel like, okay, it's enough of him. Let me know in the comments and let's have the discussion. Again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you for the next video. Hopefully it's a good one. See you then. I'm out. Peace.